Apprenticeship TN welcomes you to our very first virtual apprenticeship accelerator. Apprenticeship accelerators are events that bring together apprenticeship stakeholders and resources to accelerate the further use and adoption of registered apprenticeship to meet businesses' workforce needs. Our goal is to provide information about registered apprenticeship models and their requirements for starting or joining a program. So now we will go ahead and introduce the apprenticeship team. We'll go ahead and actually we'll do a couple of housekeeping first. Couple of housekeeping things. It is being recorded. This virtual event will be recorded, so just keep that in mind. If you don't mind, please make sure to mute your microphone and turn your camera off if you don't mind, just because we've got several people on this call and it kind of helps with streaming capacity. And then we do encourage and welcome all questions in the chat. So please use the chat feature to ask any questions. We've got designated time in between different sections to ask questions and things like that. We'll go over the agenda. So we'll do welcome and reminders, which we just did. We will go in and do introductions for the apprenticeship team. We'll go through a presentation, Apprenticeship 101. We'll talk about some youth data, partnerships and investments. We'll have a panel discussion. We'll also do a Q&A discussion, and then signing days and graduation ceremonies. We've got a segment on that as well. And then youth employment program. Then we will talk about Tennessee State Apprenticeship Agency, and then any questions for the end. So I will pass it to Autumn, and she will go ahead and kick it off with introductions.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Autumn Derrick, and I am the Deputy State Apprenticeship Director, and I also serve as the East Regional Apprenticeship Director. I'd like to note that our State Apprenticeship Director, Shalandria Shaw, and West Tennessee Regional Apprenticeship Director, Roderick Woody, could not be with us tonight. And we'll introduce the rest of our team.
Hi, I'm Lynn Kirby. I am the program analyst for the apprenticeship team.
I'm Stephanie Daniel. I'm the quality assurance director.
Hi, everyone. I'm Leanne Blevins, and I'm the grants program manager.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie. I'm the office manager for apprenticeship.
And hi, my name is Xavier, and I am the apprenticeship specialist.
Thank you all. So we will get started with our Apprenticeship 101 presentation. Apprenticeship Tennessee was established back in July of 2019 under Governor Lee's leadership and powered by the Tennessee Workforce Development System. This is a consortium of 7 state agencies, including Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development, the Tennessee College System, the Higher Ed Commission, and Department of Education, Department of Economic and Community Development, Department of Human Services, and Department of Corrections. Our office really provides outreach to employers, sponsors, education providers in the development and expansion of registered apprenticeship across the state. We do consultation with employers on program design. We develop the registration paperwork, and we do that in consultation with our employers to help the process along. And as a state apprenticeship agency, we register programs on behalf of the U.S. Department of Labor Office of Apprenticeship. Once a program is registered, we are here to provide any technical assistance or support that a program needs to have a good quality, sustainable program. Apprenticeship has been around for a long time. It's a tried and true practice, and it's a great way for a company to grow and develop its own talent. Anytime that you can't just find a qualified workforce, this is a great way to train and get the workforce that we need. And apprenticeships are going to be required to have 5 components. And this is going to start with the employer involvement. And then it takes a very structured approach to combining on-the-job learning with related instruction. And as apprentices gain skills and competencies, there's a reward for those skills gained. So there's a wage progression schedule that's built in. And then ultimately, it's going to result in a national occupational credential that we refer to as the Journey Worker Credential. And this signifies that an individual has reached that highly skilled, highly experienced level in that particular occupation. This is an example of the Journey Worker Certificate that a completer gets. You can see that it's issued by the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development's Office of Apprenticeship. It will list the program name, occupation, and the apprenticeship completer's name. and it's signed by our state director. This slide will demonstrate how the on-the-job learning and the related instruction work together. So the U.S. Department of Labor determines whether an occupation is apprenticeable. And when they do that, they base it on the ONET classification system. And in doing so, they're able to provide a score and determine how long it would take for someone to reach that journey worker level. An apprenticeship program is really designed to produce that highly skilled, highly experienced worker. And so programs typically range between 2,000 and 8,000 hours. And for every 2,000 hours that's required, there's 144 hours of related instruction that is built in the program design. And while we don't often talk about apprenticeship programs in terms of years, we refer to them mostly in hours. In an HR world, a full-time employee working 52 hours a week works about 2,080 hours a year. So you all can kind of see that a 2,000-hour program would equal approximately about a year. This slide covers the responsibilities and the roles within an apprenticeship program. We've already emphasized that there has to be employer involvement. The employer is the one that hires the apprentice. They are giving them the on-the-job learning components. They pay them according to that wage progression schedule and are typically responsible for the cost of the training. So there's no cost typically to the apprentice. And then there's the training provider who provides the related instruction component. And the sponsor is the administrative entity in this in the registered apprenticeship program. And so they're responsible for the program overall. The program is registered in that sponsor's name, and they keep track of all the on-the-job learning and related instruction hours when an apprentice completes or enters the program for that matter. And then they make sure that everything is kept update in the Rapids 2.0 system, which is the platform that helps keep track of programs and apprentices. What we like to note here is that an employer can do all of these roles, or you can have different arrangements. Sometimes you see a training provider who sponsors for multiple employers, and it could potentially be 3 different agencies. So a variety of arrangements can be made. We'll touch now on the minimum requirements for an apprenticeship program. There has to be employer involvement. We've emphasized that. These are employer-led programs. It is long-term employment, and you can register an apprentice as early as the age of 16. We follow whatever laws if an occupation requires someone to be 18 or 21, so we certainly recognize that. And then there may be parental consent needed for someone under the age of 18. An apprentice also will need to be a U.S. citizen or here through some legal status. And then we typically would not see a program less than 2,000 hours or with 144 hours of related instruction. And the wage progression schedule has to be throughout. What is required is that there is a starting, middle, and ending wage, but it often is determined by the length of the program, how many hours must be completed. And then the registration paperwork must be approved and apprentices tracked through the Rapid system. And then we just ask that programs be maintained and updated periodically. Technology is changing the way a lot of the ways that we work, and other things can change within an occupation. So we want to make sure that we have the most quality updated program that's available. Next, we'll talk about how apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship work together. By definition, a pre-apprenticeship is a program or a set of strategies that prepares individuals for success in an apprenticeship program. It is a formal arrangement between a pre-apprenticeship program that provides some type of education and potentially some work or job-related experience. It is more meaningful if there's a work experience combined. But through this arrangement, the registered apprenticeship program can provide that experience to individuals. There's no guarantee that there will be full-time employment, but we do ask that a pre-apprenticeship completer is given an interview. And any training or on-the-job learning hours that are attained in the apprenticeship program can be awarded as prior credit. And this gives them advanced standing in the program. Pre-apprenticeship programs can be arranged with a variety of partners, and this includes our college system partners, high schools, It can be nonprofit organizations, adult education, and it's a really good way to help reduce barriers and prepare someone for success in an earn and learn model. And one thing that we would like to note here is that the registered apprenticeship program has to be in place first. In Tennessee, we do a state certified pre apprenticeship program. So we do vet those programs to ensure that all of the quality components are there. And our team is available to help walk you through the process if this is something that you're interested in. Next, I'd like to cover the clear benefits to employers. I won't read all of these to you, but a couple of things that I would like to highlight here really impact the bottom line for employers. An apprenticeship program is designed to produce that highly skilled, highly experienced worker. And there is a relationship between an apprentice and someone who is already a journey worker that's highly skilled, highly trained. And there's a transfer of knowledge between those individuals. And so when you have that relationship and you have that go to person, it really results in a higher productivity for the organization. Then we like to note that apprenticeship completers remain with the employer that trained them. So the retention rates are about 90% for apprenticeship completers. And then the return on investment overall, as measured by the US Department of Labor, is about $1.47 for every dollar that's invested. Those are strong returns. So we're really proud of the investment and the return that comes from an apprenticeship program. Next, we'll talk about busting myths. So there are some myths that programs are only for unions or for large companies. And if you need one apprentice, we'll register a program. So it doesn't have to be a large organization or a large number of apprentices. And it's also not only for union, it's for union and non-union. And so nationally, there are more non-union programs than there are union affiliated ones. And while construction and manufacturing are our largest sectors, we are expanding across sectors to include professional roles such as cybersecurity, teachers, project managers, and occupations such as that. There are more than 1,000 occupations that have been apprenticed by the U.S. Department of Labor. And we are now seeing a lot of programs that are both degreed, non-degreed. Many have stackable credentials. So there are multiple ways to earn credentials in a program other than just that journey worker credential. And then finally, I'd just like to say that the government is not here to tell you or our employers who to hire, how much to pay, or how to manage. We just want to see that employers are developing a good quality program and developing our workforce. Now I will turn it over to Lynn Kirby to go over some of our youth data.
Currently, active Tennessee apprentices in the youth age group at the beginning of their apprenticeship. Autumn, will you advance the slide, please? We have 59 16 to 17-year-olds at the beginning of their apprenticeship. We have 4,065 between the ages of 18 and 24 at the beginning of their apprenticeship. Occupations can range from cybersecurity support technician, medical assistants, paralegal, project managers, phlebotomists, truck drivers, mechanical engineering technicians, and more. Almost half of our active apprentices began their apprenticeship in the age range, youth age range. We currently have 8,700 active apprentices. Our year-over-year growth is currently at 4,459 youth apprentices. The average wage for the youth at the beginning of their apprenticeship is $16.34. And the average completion wage for a youth in an apprenticeship is almost $30. Leanne will share some information about our apprenticeship partners and investments. Leanne?
Today, I want to share with you about the network of partners across the state that we have that are simultaneously serving both employers and job seekers alike. Through Tennessee's American Job Centers, companies find ideal workers while candidates receive vital career information and services. The AJCs serve all 95 counties with qualified staff and are open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Our job centers are grouped by areas called local workforce development areas, and anyone can visit one of our 73 offices. They can register online or visit one of our mobile AJCs for assistance in finding their career. Local workforce development areas are also important partners. As you can see on the map displayed, local workforce development areas are area clusters of counties whose labor market and other employment-related factors are similar. This means each area provides workforce development and career services based on local needs. LWDAs, as we call them, are affiliates or partners who help operate and administer programs and services as directed from the Workforce Investment and Opportunity Act, or otherwise WIOA, you may have heard it, WIOA, at all of the local job centers across the state. Finally, Tennessee's Department of Labor and Workforce Development employs business and workforce directors as facilitators for connecting employers, services, and workers. They are each assigned to one of the 9 local workforce areas. Their goal is to help employers determine what their needs are and then direct those employers to the proper services available through the Department of Labor and Workforce Development. And of course, we can't forget funding availability. That's one of the more frequent questions we get asked. For those on the call considering enrolling in an apprenticeship program, remember you'll get paid while you train and you'll work to learn how to apply the training. We call that model earn and learn. Following the progressive wage scale that Ms. Derrick spoke about earlier, training starts with a lower pay point and increases to one as one progresses through the training program. It ends with the normal pay for the position when the apprentice is completed. For employers interested in learning more about registered apprenticeship programs, let me reiterate that the most important results of investing in a registered apprenticeship program are: 1, the return on investment, the fact that you get higher skilled workers, and the fact that you have a higher retention rate of employees. There are limited grant funds available for employers, and every employer is welcome to apply. Funds are on a first come, first served basis. They're based on program year, and of course are meant to provide a small portion of cost savings to the employers, and they are limited funding. The funds are administered in pass-through grants and must be applied for, through the workforce development area in which your program is located. At this point, I'll direct us back to Ms. Derrick.
Next, we'll transition over to our panel discussion. We have Katrina Rucker, the Vice President of Human Resources with Roscoe Brown, and with her is Tiffany Phillips, Industry Engagement Specialist from Rutherford County Schools. Welcome to our Apprenticeship Accelerator.
Thank you.
So our first question is going to be for you, Katrina. How does registered apprenticeship benefit your company?
Here at Roscoe Brown, we are in the trade of heating and air and plumbing. And as most of you know, the area of the trades over the last few years have suffered tremendously on those that are having an interest into going into those career fields. So we found it necessary to kind of think outside of the box. And one of the things we looked at was starting an apprenticeship program in-house, and also how we could connect that with the state apprenticeship program. It gives us another avenue to recruit in a time of what we call a war for talent. And it really is a must for us to have another avenue to recruit people that want to go into the trade and to have a long-standing career We've had several years to where we've really focused on people going to college, students going to college, and their careers that are needed college degrees. But in our field, that's always not necessary. So we had to find a way to jumpstart our program and get people trained a lot quicker than what we have in the past. So this is another recruiting tool for us to use.
Well, thank you for that answer, Katrina. Can you tell us about the occupations that you have registered?
Yes, right now we have plumbing and we have HVAC technicians. Those are the two Roscoe Brown employs the most of, and those are we're hiring every day, and we could have hundreds of apprentices if we can continue to expand our program. But those are the two we actually have at this time.
Well, that's a good segue into our next question. Why should a school partner with employers and Apprenticeship Tennessee?
Uh, we have partnered with Rutherford County Schools. Tiffany is part of the panel as well, and with the state of Tennessee, again, because we need more resources. We're all kind of fighting for the same talent out there, and the more relationships that you can have, the more avenues that you can open to get people involved and get people interested is going to be a win for everyone. We say here in the trade of heating and air and plumbing, it's recession proofed, it's COVID proof. You're always going to have those type of skilled workers, because if you think about it too much, there's going to be a really big skill gap, and those are going to be critical careers to support hospitals and schools and new construction. So again, I don't know why an employer would not give it a try, because it's a win for everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you, Katrina. I appreciate that feedback. So next I'll turn over to Tiffany. Tiffany, thanks for being with us today. Can you tell us why you would want to bring registered apprenticeships or pre-apprenticeships into the school system? Oh, you're on mute still.
Thank you. Sorry about that. First of all, I would love to say thank you to the Office of Apprenticeship here in Tennessee for having us here and for allowing us to discuss our programs. I never turned down an opportunity to talk about them because, number one, they're just so beneficial to our communities and to our workforce and to our students and their families and our school systems. And so I really want to say thank you for helping to allow us to present and to actually work through these programs. If anyone on the call is thinking about doing an apprenticeship program, please reach out to these ladies here on this call, because they'll definitely help you with that. So why should you bring a registered apprenticeship program into the school system? First of all, I'll talk about on the employer side. The main reason is early access. Whenever you bring that program into the school system and you are partnering with the teachers and with the students, you have first dibs on those students and that workforce that is of the future that's coming out of high school. So you're going to be able to access those students before your competitors are able to access them. And you'll get to choose the best of the best. Also, it gives a guaranteed pipeline into your program, your apprenticeship program. So with Roscoe Brown created their registered apprenticeship program first. And then they came to Rutherford County Schools through some partnerships that we have, and that's how we began talking, and we created the pre-apprenticeship program with Roscoe Brown. So those students are able to meet the employer before getting out of high school as they are working through their CTE classes. And they are able to go ahead and begin those relationships with the employer. You know, everybody said COVID kind of cut out relationships, and we've seen how important those relationships are to people through COVID. And so these relationships that are formed are really vital to the workforce and to furthering that work that's done in our community. When a student gets out of high school and they do not know what they want to do and they haven't made a decision, they're going to remember that person that worked with them within the classroom. And that's someone that they will likely reach out to for a job because they've already started that relationship with them. There are also benefits to the school system. Through our partnerships with our employers, with Roscoe Brown and some of the other ones that we have as well. We have been able to invite people from industry into the classroom and provide really important and vital experiences for our students about the workplace. We're also able to take students out into the field. We're able to give them work-based learning opportunities where they can go ahead and start working as a high school student. So there are many benefits to both the school system and the employer. And finally, there are benefits to the student. As a student is enrolled into a CTE course that has an apprenticeship attached to it, they are automatically gaining some of those skills, and they are going to start a registered apprenticeship program when they're ready, a little bit further ahead than the typical person would. So it will take some of that time off that they would be required to complete within the registered apprenticeship program.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that, Tiffany. So clear benefits for everyone that's involved. So can you tell us how does a youth enter a registered apprenticeship program?
Sure. So in Rutherford County Schools, we have pre-apprenticeship programs. And so let me talk about that one first. A student could enter a pre-apprenticeship program through their CTE courses. Currently, we have the apprenticeship program with Roscoe Brown. And we also have one with Lee Company for the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing programs. We are also happy to announce that we have 2 new ones for next school year. One's been approved and one we're waiting on word for. And so hopefully we'll get that in the next few days. But we're looking at a pre-apprenticeship program for digital arts. So our digital arts students will be able to work on project management skills within their courses. And then also for health sciences, and they'll be able to work on a CNA, a pre-apprenticeship program with NHC. And they'll also be able to, those CNA students will also be able to combine it with work-based learning next school year. And they'll leave for part of the school day and go and work at NHC with that certification that they've already earned, and work on their apprenticeship hours while they're also in high school. So students are able to go ahead and get some of that stuff out of the way, and they can start their careers early. I wanted to also say in the apprenticeship programs, students can also enter into an apprenticeship program like the NHC one during school, and they would just need to talk to their CTE teacher to try and find out what programs are available in their area.
Wonderful. Thank you. Next, I'd like for you to talk about can a youth earn a college credit while participating in a registered apprenticeship program?
Yes, absolutely, they can. Many of our CTE programs have dual enrollment with TCAT or with Motlow or even MTSU, or other local post-secondary education institutions. So students who are in CTE can earn dual credit through those courses. They also have access to dual enrollment and dual credit opportunities through their courses like English language arts or mathematics, and some of the other programs within their school as well. So they could go ahead and get some of those requirements out of the way as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing. So at this time, ladies, if you'll stay on with me for just a second, we're going to transition to a Q&A session. So I'll ask Jamie and Xaviera, are there any questions in the chat for our panelists?
Yes, there is. We have two. From Ginger Hill. She They say, when are you speaking on the school systems? Are you referring to high schools, technical schools, colleges, or all of the above? And also, could someone be selected from other sources for an apprenticeship? For instance, someone who is being homeschooled or on a wait list to get into a technical program, or do they have to be enrolled as a student in order to be considered?
So really quickly, I'll try to address that. Thank you for the question, Ginger, and thank you for sharing, Xaviera. So one thing that I will share here is that we have partnerships all across the state with various school systems who can participate. So when we're talking about a registered apprenticeship program, that has to be in place first before you can have a pre-apprenticeship. But ideally, if you're looking for a program to connect to, I would recommend that you go to apprenticeshiptennessee.com, go to the Find a Program tab. You can search by keyword. You can look up employers. You can even sort by county if you're looking for something in your specific county to see what is available. But pre-apprenticeship would be open to multiple partnerships. So there may be an MOU in place with Rutherford County Schools and Roscoe Brown. So you might need to be a student to participate in that program, but we are working to expand opportunities across the state. I'm not sure if that answered your question fully, but if you would like, you're welcome to reach out to us. We'll have our contact information up at the end of the presentation, and we'll be happy to talk you through that.
Thank you, Autumn. We have another question from Rhonda, and this one's for Tiffany. We're working on a pre-apprenticeship for early childhood education. I would love to talk with you. Could she get your information?
Yeah, put it in the chat. That'd be great.
Rejuvenate 901. I guess this one's for you, Autumn. How do we go about getting reimbursement for apprentices we are employing?
So in order to get a reimbursement from apprentices that you currently employ, the funding mechanism for any of this apprenticeship training grants is through the local workforce development board. And we would be happy to connect you to that appropriate person. You would typically have to have a training agreement in place with that local workforce development board. And we have new funding announcements typically at the beginning of every program year. So we definitely encourage that you reach out to your local workforce board or your business and workforce directors. So please follow up with us after this presentation. We'll be happy to help connect you with those appropriate contacts. Great question, though.
Are we allowing hands up? There is a hand up for, excuse me if I mispronounce your name. Well, Miss Durham, she has her hand up.
Okay, Miss Durham, you can come on to the mic.
Okay, the mic is allowed.
Okay, that's what I'm waiting. Hey, I got Mr. Woody on the phone. I'm talking. He's explaining it to me now. So thank you. I'm talking to him now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. That is all of the questions that I see in the chat. So next, if there aren't any more questions, I will turn it over to Stephanie Daniel, our Quality Assurance Director.
Thank you to our panelists.
Yes, thank you. Hold on, if you'll hold just a second. We do have one more, and they asked about the difference between a state apprenticeship and a youth apprenticeship program.
Oh, great. Thanks, Lynn.
It just came in.
Okay, so before we move on to the next session, so we recognize in the state of Tennessee, apprenticeship is apprenticeship. So, a registered program is typically what we refer to. And youth apprenticeship in Tennessee is really youth in apprenticeship. So that is where you have individuals between the ages of 16 and 24. So hopefully that answered that question. Stephanie?
Thanks, Autumn. Thank you all. Thanks for being with us this evening. This slide here, signing days and graduation ceremonies, registered apprenticeship signing days, as well as state certified pre-apprenticeship signing days are a great way to highlight your program. And equally important and just as much fun, of course, are the graduation ceremonies to celebrate your apprentices and your pre-apprentices on the completion of their programs. Our office is more than happy to assist you with either or both of these events for your program. You can go ahead and slide on. There we go. You can find that event link as well as this dashboard, which is showing here our current registration numbers on the Apprenticeship TN website, along with lots of other very valuable apprenticeship information. So apprenticeshiptn.gov, sorry. Next is our Tennessee Youth Employment Program, TYIP, we call it TYIP. Here, the Tennessee Youth Employment Program is a state-funded program that is a governor's priority. It's aimed to increase and improve youth workforce involvement in Tennessee. The program allows youth between the ages of 14 and 24 the opportunity to test drive, if you will, different jobs and see if it's something they're interested in exploring as a long-term career path while earning money in the meantime. For employers, it's a state-paid labor talent pipeline. And for youth, it's a guaranteed resume builder. It instills responsibility and it supports career readiness. There is a link on the bottom of this flyer. We're going to drop that in the chat. And when you get an opportunity, feel free to go out there and click on the link and do a much deeper dive into this TYEP, Tennessee Youth Employment Program for more information on that. And with that, I will give it back over to Autumn.
Thank you, Stephanie. So at this time, I'll pause and ask Xaviera and Jamie, do we have anything in the chat? Mr. Farley, come on to the mic.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi.
Thank you for inviting me. One of the things, I'm Al Farley from Spring Hill General Motors plant here. We don't get to pull a whole lot of the youth in because we hire mostly from within as a part of our workforce development internal. But one of the things we are getting ready to do is some recognition for graduations. And do I just contact Stephanie to get her here or to arrange that? So we will be doing that. And we had them out for the signing ceremonies of the group we put on last fall. It was a lot of fun. So, but I just wonder who do I drag in
Pick
for that?
me.
Okay.
Me.
All right. So I'll be hitting
to.
you up to that soon. So and hopefully we'll be adding another bunch soon too to bring you back out for that.
Please do. Yes.
Okay.
It's so much fun. I was in Manchester yesterday and I was in Rutherford County yesterday, and it just makes my heart so happy. Please call me.
Okay.
You know how to find me.
Okay. Then just one other comment is we have a little pre-apprenticeship program here. It's called our Start program, where they actually take the old apprentice test, the old and it's broke down into 4 sections. And we actually pay for them to take class online through Penn Foster, but where they fall out here is on blueprint reading and algebra. So I don't know if there's anything. I'd like to talk to see if we can get something set up in the area where because we pay for the employees to take it, and then the second time they have to go on their own dime. But if there's any type of thing where we could refresh skills, or particularly they don't have any skills when it comes to the blueprint reading, and they sort of just give up on the whole attempt of trying to make the pre-apprenticeship program. So the result, we only have like 28 people on our list, and our apprentices start out at $36 an hour. So
Right.
so
Well,
yeah.
I'll do a little shameless plug.
Yeah.
We have a few minutes here for those folks who have registered apprenticeship programs in the state of Tennessee. We offer our employers free RTI resources. We have WorkForge and we have Coursera. So please get in touch with me after this event. Maybe not this evening. Shoot me an email this evening. Probably won't respond, but definitely tomorrow or the day after. And let's talk about some resources that we can help you with, Mr. Farley, on that. So
Thank you.
For sure. Yeah.
And one thing that I would like to add there, thank you, Stephanie, is that pre-apprenticeship might be a great option for you. So remember that pre-apprenticeship is designed to help prepare individuals for success. So if we know there are certain barriers or upskilling that we need to do, that's a great option. It will help give them confidence as they move forward. So we'd be happy to talk with you about that.
Next we have Rebecca Sneed. She has her hand up.
Becky,
Hi, yes. Hey, Autumn. Okay, so you really caught my attention when you said that about, of course, we work with the youth and we work with vocational rehab youth in that service. And when you said test drive, and I immediately pulled up the website here, and I'm seeing, I guess this is what it is, because it says it was formerly known as the Summer Youth Program through the AJCs. Okay, so I guess what my question would be in that is that we would go through the AJCs then, would we not, for this Summer Youth Program?
Yes,
Okay.
I would definitely recommend that you contact your local workforce development board or business and workforce directors, and we can navigate you to those program contacts.
Okay.
So it may vary across the state depending on the local area, but that's a great question, Becky. Thank you.
Yeah. And then I was also looking, also was going through and I pulled up all of my counties, my local counties, because I'm assuming that for anyone that's going into this, you're looking in that county. I mean, it's not like you would be going, oh, there's one over here, and of course, Rutherford County would be way out of our way. You would be finding something that's, of course, local, and that's what we're going to opportunities that we will offer to the students is anything that's local. Okay. I know that
so
sounds
the
like
youth employment program is available across the state, and it's going to be, it's going to be within those local workforce development areas. So
okay.
Is that what you're referring to, or are you talking about programs?
The program, the apprenticeship programs themselves, like I said, I looked them up to see, because I know you and I have talked about this before, but I just kind of, I want to be able to share with the students what is available, not just willy-nilly because they could, but just say, hey, these are some apprenticeships that are available. So, okay.
Yes, we appreciate that. Please do share that link on apprenticeshiptennessee.com is the best way to find those programs. So,
and I did go through county like you suggested. So
yes, that's a great way.
Thank you.
Thank
this
you,
is
Becky.
this is great. I'm going to get into this full-fledged.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We have Miss Durham. She's wanting to comment.
I had a question. I just want to make sure I get clarity on the program for the youth. Again, can you tell me what is the wage amount and also the hours or the length of the program for them?
We'll defer to Madison. Are you, just to clarify, Ms. Durham, are you referring to the Tennessee Youth Employment Program?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Autumn, I can answer that if you would like me to.
Sure.
This is Selena Moore.
Selena.
Hi, Selena Moore. I'm a business and workforce director in the Southern Middle region. And it was good to hear Alan from General Motors. I've met him recently last fall when we did the apprenticeship meeting. But for the youth employment program, you are the employer. You hire them at the wage that you would like to pay them. And before, there was a 25-hour cap of hours that the youth participant could work. That has been lifted. So as long as, it falls within child labor laws, you are good.
Okay, and so
And
how does an employer sign up for that particular program?
So we can post a flyer, or I will put my email address in the chat box. There are 7 other business and workforce directors across the state that work in conjunction to your local workforce boards. You can go to the flyer, or you can email me and I will triage you and get you to your local workforce development board person if you would like.
That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you
You're welcome.
for responding.
Thanks. And I'll just want to point out too that in the chat there's a link to the newsletter, and so there's you can go to the website that we pointed out in the presentation for more information as well.
We have one from Esther. She says, can a youth be in the youth program and the apprenticeship program at the same time? So I'm guessing she's asking, or he or she is asking, can a youth be in both programs, both the YEP and a regular apprenticeship?
So a registered apprenticeship is full-time employment typically. So the Tennessee Youth Employment Program is designed to be a work experience type program. So if you're talking about pre-apprenticeship, that might be a good way to offset some of those costs. But if a youth is already employed and participating in a registered apprenticeship program, I would probably refer you to the local workforce development boards to see if there are any other training grants that are available to help offset, provide some cost savings or cost avoidance. But that's a great question.
Okay, looking at the chat, I don't see any more questions or any hands raised, so just handing it back to you.
Thank you, Xaviera. So, thank you all for your questions. Thank you so much for participating this evening. We hope that we've demonstrated this evening that apprenticeships actually work. If you have questions or you would like a consultation, we invite you to reach out to our team. We have our contact information here on the screen. Thank you for your time and attention, and we hope you enjoy your evening.